Hello everyone, and welcome back to Stamps Old World UK. Today, we are exploring one of the most interesting presidential memorial stamps ever issued by the United States Postal Service, the famous 2-cent Warren G. Harding stamp. This small black stamp may look simple at first glance, but behind its design lies a remarkable story of American history, national mourning, massive public demand, and fascinating stamp collecting value. Whether you are a stamp collector, a history enthusiast, or simply curious about vintage postage stamps, stay with me until the end because we will uncover the history, design, printing details, rarity factors, and current market value of this iconic American stamp. The 2-cent Warren G. Harding stamp was issued in 1923 to honor Warren Gamaliel Harding, the 29th President of the United States of America. Harding was born on November 2, 1865, in Ohio and served as president from March 4, 1921. Until his sudden death on August 2, 1923. His passing shocked the nation. At the time of his death, Harding was on a tour across the western United States when he became ill and passed away unexpectedly in San Francisco. News of his death spread rapidly across America, and millions of citizens mourned the loss of their president. To commemorate President Harding, the United States Post Office Department moved with extraordinary speed. Just weeks after his death, preparations were already underway to produce a memorial postage stamp. The result was the famous 2-cent Warren G. Harding memorial stamp, officially issued on September 1, 1923. This was an exceptionally fast production schedule, especially considering the printing technology of the early 20th century. The design of the stamp is simple yet dignified. Printed entirely in black, the stamp features a portrait of President Harding facing slightly to the left. His name appears prominently below the portrait, while the denomination of 2 cents is displayed in each lower corner. The black color was chosen as a symbol of mourning and respect, making the stamp immediately recognizable among other U.S. issues of the period. The portrait presents Harding with a serious and presidential appearance, reflecting the solemn purpose of the stamp. The stamp was designed by Claire Aubrey Houston, one of the leading designers working with the Bureau of Engraving and Printing during that era. The engraved portrait was carefully crafted to capture Harding's likeness while maintaining the classic elegance expected of American postage stamps. The engraving process produced fine lines and remarkable detail despite the stamp's small size. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Harding memorial stamp is the incredible public demand it generated. Originally, postal officials intended the stamp to remain on sale for only a short period, perhaps 60 to 90 days. However, demand exceeded all expectations. Americans rushed to post offices across the country to purchase sheets of the memorial stamp as keepsakes and souvenirs. In Harding's hometown of Marion, Ohio, enormous crowds gathered to buy the new issue. Reports indicate that most of the stamps allocated to Marion sold almost immediately on the first day of issue. Because demand was so intense, the Bureau of Engraving and Printing struggled to produce enough stamps using its standard flat-plate printing presses. To meet the nation's appetite for the memorial issue, rotary printing presses were eventually employed as well. This decision created several collectible varieties that continue to fascinate philatelists today. For collectors, these different printings provide an exciting area of study and can significantly affect a stamp's value. The most common version is known to collectors as Scott No. 610. This variety was printed using flat-plate presses and perforated with gauge 11 perforations. More than 1 billion Harding memorial stamps were ultimately produced, making the standard issue relatively common today. Despite the enormous printing quantity, the stamp remains historically significant because it reflects the national grief and respect shown toward a sitting president who died in office. Collectors often examine Harding stamps very carefully because subtle differences in perforations and printing methods can lead to dramatically different values. Some versions are worth only a few cents, while rare varieties can be worth thousands of dollars. This is one reason why stamp identification is so important in philately. A simple perforation measurement can completely transform a stamp's value and rarity. Now let's talk about the market value of the standard 2-cent Warren G. Harding stamp in today's market. For a typical used Scott No. 610 stamp in average condition, collectors generally pay between 10 cents and 50 cents. Many examples sell for around $400 depending on centering, cancellation quality, and overall appearance. Fine used examples are plentiful because so many were printed and used on everyday mail. Recent dealer listings and collector market prices commonly place used examples in the range of approximately 10 to 30 cents, while better examples may reach slightly higher levels. Mint examples with original gum are generally more valuable. Depending on condition, centering, and whether the stamp is hinged or never hinged, prices often range from around 50 cents to $2. Exceptional examples with superior centering can command somewhat higher premiums among specialized collectors. Collectors should also know that there are rarer Harding stamp varieties. The imperforate version and certain rotary press issues are worth substantially more than the standard stamp. Some scarce varieties can sell for tens of dollars, hundreds of dollars, or even thousands of dollars if authenticated and found in excellent condition. These rare varieties are eagerly sought by advanced collectors and frequently appear in specialized auctions. When evaluating a Harding stamp, collectors examine several important factors. The first factor is perforation size. The second is the printing method used to produce the stamp. The third is centering, meaning how well the design is positioned within the perforated margins. The fourth is condition. Stamps with tears, creases, stains, or heavy cancellations are worth less than clean, attractive examples. Finally, provenance and expert certification can significantly increase buyer confidence, especially when dealing with rare varieties. Nearly a century after its release, the Warren G. Harding Memorial Stamp remains one of the most recognizable presidential memorial stamps in American philately. It tells a story not only about a president but also about a nation responding to unexpected loss. The stamp captures a moment in American history when millions of citizens wanted a tangible reminder of their fallen leader. Through its elegant black design and fascinating production history, the Harding Memorial Stamp continues to attract collectors around the world. For stamp collectors, this issue represents much more than a simple 2-cent postage stamp. It is a historical artifact, a memorial tribute, and a window into the culture and emotions of the United States in 1923. Its popularity demonstrates how postage stamps can serve as miniature historical documents, preserving memories of important people and events for future generations. Next up, the famous Nathan Hale 1/2 cent postage stamp of 1925. This small olive brown stamp may appear ordinary at first glance, but it honors one of the greatest heroes of the American Revolution and has become a favorite among collectors of classic United States stamps. In this video, we will explore the life of Nathan Hale, the history behind the stamp, its design, printing details, collecting significance, and its market value in today's stamp market. The Nathan Hale 1/2 cent stamp was officially issued on April 4, 1925, as part of the 4th Bureau Issue Definitive Series. It carried a face value of 1/2 cent, a denomination that seems unusual today but was useful during an era when certain bulk mailing rates and postal services required fractional postage values. The stamp was issued by the United States Post Office Department and printed by the Bureau of Engraving and Printing in Washington, D.C. More than 626 million copies were produced, making it one of the widely distributed stamps of its era. Before we examine the stamp itself, it is important to understand the remarkable man featured on it. Nathan Hale was born on June 6, 1755, in Coventry, Connecticut. He became a schoolteacher before joining the Continental Army during the American Revolutionary War. Hale is remembered as one of America's earliest spies. In 1776, during the struggle for independence from Great Britain, he volunteered for a dangerous intelligence mission behind enemy lines. Unfortunately, he was captured by British forces and sentenced to death. According to popular tradition, his final words were, "I only regret that I have but one life to lose for my country." These words transformed Nathan Hale into a lasting symbol of patriotism, courage, and sacrifice. The stamp features a portrait of Nathan Hale based on a sculpture by Bella Lyon Pratt. The design is elegant and dignified, showing Hale in military attire. The stamp was printed in an attractive olive brown color and engraved with fine detail that reflects the high-quality craftsmanship of the Bureau of Engraving and Printing during the 1920s. The design work was completed by Claire Aubrey Houston, one of the most respected stamp designers of the period. The stamp was printed using the engraved method on flat plate presses and perforated gauge 11. One of the most interesting aspects of this issue is its unusual denomination. Modern collectors often wonder why a 1/2 cent stamp was needed. During the early 20th century, the United States postal system offered numerous mailing categories, including bulk mail and advertising mail, that required fractional postage rates. The 1/2 cent denomination helped businesses and organizations meet exact postal requirements without overpaying for postage. Because of this practical purpose, enormous quantities of Nathan Hale stamps were produced and used throughout the country. The official catalog number assigned to this stamp by the Scott Specialized Catalog is Scott number 551. It belongs to the famous 1922 to 1925 definitive series, which featured important American historical figures and national themes. Among collectors, Scott 551 is easily recognized by its olive brown color, engraved portrait, and half-cent denomination. It remains a key stamp for anyone building a collection of classic United States definitive issues. Although more than 600 million copies were printed, the Nathan Hale stamp remains historically important because it introduced many Americans to the story of one of the nation's Revolutionary War heroes. At a time when postage stamps served as miniature educational tools, millions of people saw Nathan Hale's portrait every day on letters, business mail, and printed materials. In many ways, the stamp helped preserve his memory for future generations. Now let's discuss what collectors are most interested in today: market value. Because such a large number of stamps were printed, the standard Nathan Hale 1/2-cent stamp is generally considered a common issue. A typical used example in average condition usually sells for between $400 to $600 depending on centering, cancellation quality, and overall appearance. Many collector dealers offer used examples for only a few cents each because of their abundance. Mint examples with original gum are more desirable. In today's market, fine mint examples often sell for approximately $300 while very fine never-hinged examples may sell for around $800 depending on condition and centering. Dealer listings commonly show quality mint examples in this price range. Collectors should remember that condition plays a major role in determining value. A stamp with sharp perforations, fresh color, excellent centering, and original gum will always be worth more than one with creases, stains, tears, thin spots, or heavy cancellations. Expert collectors also search for unusual plate varieties, printing flaws, and positional pieces from sheets, which can command premiums above the value of ordinary examples. The Nathan Hale stamp is also popular among collectors who specialize in Revolutionary War themes, patriotic issues, and classic United States definitive stamps. Even though it is not a rare stamp, it remains an affordable and historically meaningful addition to a collection. For many collectors, its value lies not in rarity but in the inspiring story of the men it honors. Nearly 100 years after its release, the Nathan Hale 1/2-cent stamp continues to remind us of courage, loyalty, and sacrifice. It represents a young patriot who gave his life for the cause of American independence and whose legacy continues to inspire people around the world. Every time collectors place this stamp in an album, they preserve a small piece of American history. For stamp collectors, the Nathan Hale 1/2-cent stamp is far more than a simple piece of paper. It is a historical artifact, a tribute to a national hero, and a wonderful example of the artistry and craftsmanship of classic American stamp production. Whether you find one in an old collection, inherit one from a family member, or purchase one from a stamp dealer, you are holding a small but meaningful connection to the history of the United States. Next up, the George Washington 2-cent postage stamp. For many decades, this stamp was a familiar sight on millions of letters traveling across the United States. Although it was produced in enormous quantities, it remains one of the most collected and studied stamps in the world. In this video, we will discover the history behind the stamp, learn about its design, understand why there are so many different varieties, and reveal what these stamps are worth in today's market. George Washington holds a unique place in American history. Born on February 22, 1732, he became the commander of the Continental Army during the American Revolutionary War and later became the first president of the United States. Washington served as president from 1789 to 1797 and is often called the father of his country. Because of his importance in American history, his portrait has appeared on countless coins, banknotes, monuments, and postage stamps. The George Washington 2-cent postage stamp became especially important during the early 20th century because the 2-cent rate was the standard postage rate for first-class domestic letters in the United States. As a result, billions of these stamps were printed and used. Every day, letters, postcards, business correspondence, government documents, and personal messages carried George Washington's image across the nation. One of the most popular versions of the George Washington 2-cent stamp was issued in 1926 as part of the famous 4th Bureau issue series. This stamp is catalogued by collectors as Scott No. 634. It was issued on December 10, 1926, and printed in a beautiful carmine red color. The stamp features an engraved portrait of George Washington enclosed within a classic ornamental frame. The design reflects the elegance and craftsmanship of American stamp production during the early 20th century. The stamp was designed by Claire Aubrey Houston and engraved by skilled artists working for the Bureau of Engraving and Printing. It was produced using the engraved printing method, which allowed for exceptionally fine detail and sharp lines. The stamp was printed on rotary presses and perforated 11 by 10.5. To many collectors, these technical details may seem unimportant, but they play a major role in identifying specific varieties. Throughout the 1920s and 1930s, the United States Post Office produced numerous George Washington 2-cent stamps that appear nearly identical at first glance. However, differences in perforations, watermark varieties, printing methods, sheet formats, and design types can create significant differences in rarity and value. One reason these stamps fascinate collectors is that many rare varieties look almost exactly like common versions. A collector may find two George Washington stamps that appear identical, yet one may be worth only a few cents while another could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. This is why stamp specialists carefully measure perforations, examine watermarks, and compare design details before assigning a value. The standard Scott No. 634 George Washington stamp is considered a common issue because large quantities were printed for everyday postal use. Nevertheless, it remains an important stamp in United States philately because it represents an era when mail was the primary means of communication. Every stamp tells a story about the letters it carried and the people who used it. Now let's discuss what collectors want to know most: the market value. In today's stamp market, a typical used George Washington 2-cent Scott No. 634 stamp in average condition usually sells for approximately $500. Examples with heavy cancellations, faults, or poor centering often sell for less. Fine used examples with attractive appearance may bring slightly higher prices. Dealer listings commonly offer used examples for only a few cents because they remain readily available. Mint examples with original gum are generally more desirable. A typical mint stamp may sell for approximately $900, while very fine never-hinged examples often range from $700 to several dollars depending on condition and centering. Premium quality examples with exceptional centering may command higher prices among specialized collectors. Many new collectors are surprised when they see online listings claiming that ordinary George Washington 2-cent stamps are worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. Experienced collectors frequently warn that asking prices do not represent actual market value. The true value depends on proper identification, condition, rarity, and actual selling prices rather than optimistic listings. Collector communities consistently advise using Scott catalog numbers and expert identification before assuming a stamp is rare or valuable. When evaluating a George Washington stamp, collectors look closely at several factors. The first is condition. A stamp with no tears, creases, stains, or missing perforations will always be more desirable. The second factor is centering. Well-centered stamps are more attractive and generally worth more money. The third factor is originality, including the presence of original gum on mint examples. Finally, accurate identification is critical because many similar Washington stamps exist. Even though the common George Washington 2-cent stamps are inexpensive, they remain extremely popular among collectors worldwide. Their historical importance, classic engraved design, and connection to America's first president make them essential additions to countless stamp collections. They are often among the first stamps collected by beginners and continue to be appreciated by advanced philatelists. Nearly 100 years after its release, the George Washington 2-cent stamp continues to serve as a symbol of American history and postal heritage. It reminds us of an era when letters connected families, businesses, and communities across vast distances. Each surviving stamp represents a small piece of that remarkable story. For stamp collectors, the George Washington 2-cent stamp is much more than a common postage stamp. It is a historical artifact, a tribute to one of the greatest leaders in American history, and an enduring example of the artistry of classic stamp engraving. Whether you own one stamp or an entire collection of Washington issues, you are preserving an important part of philatelic history. Thank you for watching Stamps Old World UK. I hope you enjoyed learning about the George Washington 2-cent postage stamp. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, and share it with fellow collectors and history enthusiasts. Let me know in the comments if you own this stamp and whether you have discovered any interesting varieties. Until next time, keep collecting, keep exploring, and keep discovering the incredible stories hidden within the world's stamps.